This is Top 30.
The gunman in the Las Vegas shooting planned to survive the massacre and escape his 32nd floor room at the Mandalay Bay Hotel, according to the Las Vegas sheriff. The sheriff didn't give any more details into what led them to make that conclusion. He also said they found a note in the room. It was not a suicide note, but the sheriff didn't reveal what it said. And investigators are learning the gunman may have been doing pre-surveillance during at least 2 other music festivals before opening fire on the country music fans last weekend. The sheriff revealed about a week before the massacre, September 22nd through 25th, the gunman rented a room at a Las Vegas condo overlooking the Life is Beautiful music festival. And USA Today is reporting he also rented 2 rooms in a Chicago hotel that faced the Lollapalooza music festival in August, although it's unclear if he used those rooms. Meanwhile, his girlfriend released a statement saying she knew him as a kind, caring, quiet man and had no idea he was capable of any violence. She went on to say she did not know he was planning violence against anyone and that she will cooperate with investigators.
Republicans in Congress might be open to legislation on bump stocks like the one used by the Las Vegas shooter. This week, California Senator Dianne Feinstein called bump stocks a loophole in laws restricting the use of machine guns. She has proposed a bill that would ban them. It has the support of about 26 Senate Democrats, and for the first time in years, the bill may also have support from Republicans who are usually against gun restrictions of any sort. Many said after the shooting that it wasn't the right time to talk gun laws. This week, the number 2 Republican in the Senate, John Cornyn of Texas, called the modification an obvious area we ought to explore and see if it's something Congress needs to act on. In the House, Representative Bill Flores said the modifications should be banned. Feinstein said at a press conference, "Some have said we shouldn't do this. Now is not the time. When is the time going to be?" She also revealed that the issue was personal for her. Her daughter had planned to attend the festival in Las Vegas and stay at the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Your morning glass of orange juice is about to get more expensive, which will leave a bitter taste in your mouth. It's also going to leave a bitter taste in your mouth, literally. When Hurricane Irma tore through Florida last month, not only did it take lives and destroy cities, but the state's orange groves took a significant hit. And this means that 30 to 70% of the oranges were ruined. And beverage manufacturers in the US might have to start using more orange juice from Brazil in their blends, which is much less sweet. Brazil's export of OJ to the US could increase by as much as 50%. Prices, of course, always rise when demand is high and supply is low. So not only will your orange juice just not taste as good, but you can expect a $1 to $2 price increase per gallon.
These are your quick hits. Carolina Panthers star Cam Newton is under fire after he laughed at a female reporter and made a sexist comment on Wednesday. Take a look.
Devin Funchess has seemed to really embrace the physicality of his routes and getting those extra yards. Does that give you a little bit of an enjoyment to see him kind of truck sticking people out there?
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. Funny.
Reporter Jordan Rodriguez says she spoke with Cam after the Q&A and it got worse. Celebrity chef Jose Andres and his crew have been in Puerto Rico delivering thousands of meals every day to those in need. They've given out up to 45,000 meals a day, and he hopes to reach 100,000 daily by the end of the week. C-sections are one of the marvels of modern science, but what was once a life-saving surgery has become routine, with 1 in 3 American births occurring as a result of the procedure. According to The Guardian, the Centers for Disease Control reported in 2015, births by C-section were at 32%, but the World Health Organization says the number should linger between 10 to 15%. Dr. Flavia Bustreo, the Assistant Director General for Family, Women's, and Children's Health at the WHO, said, "We are quite worried when the C-section rate goes above 30%, as it is in the United States. The risks associated with C-sections are no joke. They include severe and even fatal bleeding, a lengthy recovery, organ damage, and permanent injury. Given the risks, though, the numbers could decrease if hospitals face the fact that these stats are too high. If that happens, maybe a C-section will be a last resort."
Police are investigating a college football player for possibly assaulting a fan on the field. after a game. Washington State fans rushed the field after their team scored near the end of the game and upset USC 30-27. As the USC players were walking off the field, one of them pushes a fan to the ground, and it was captured on video. The player shoving the fan is freshman defensive lineman Liam Jimmons. Washington State University police are interviewing witnesses, and given that the video's gone viral, that really could be a lot of witnesses. Officers expect to finish their investigation by next week. The fan was taken to hospital but did not reveal any details about his injuries. Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for the Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, I'm hearing some stuff about the Apple Watch.
That's right, Richard. Well, Apple's announcing a major fix to its new watch. Initially, people were complaining it had issues connecting to LTE networks, the feature that lets people make calls without being next to their phone. Apple says it was just a software bug. Now they've released an update and say the problem is solved. Google proving the phone and computer business isn't just a hobby anymore. The tech giant releasing 2 new smartphones, a camera that takes pictures by itself, 2 new smart speakers with even better sound quality, and Pixel Buds, which are headphones that can translate languages in real time. And Dunkin' Donuts is slimming down. The popular chain is dropping a dozen of its donut options in stores around the country. Now, some of the stores will offer just 18 donuts instead of the traditional 30. The sweeping changes will go into effect later this month.
Nicole, I need to know where this is happening.
Well, they'll be doing this in about 1,000 of the 9,000 stores they have. The idea is to focus on coffee and increase efficiency and customer service. But donut lovers do not panic just yet. They say some of the affected stores could eventually go back to 24 options.
A veteran Smithsonian Institute scientist has told the Washington Post that within the next 30 years, the human race, about 10 billion of us, will live in cities or megacities. He says this urbanization may benefit humans, but there will be downsides too. John Kress is the veteran scientist. He's also co-editor of a new book by the Smithsonian called Living in the Anthropocene, and he says rapid expansion kicked off by the Industrial Revolution has allowed humans to treat the Earth and its resources as though they were disposable. Kress worried that this will create a further divide between people and nature, which will lead to our inability to feel the weakening pulse of the planet. The book is hitting the shelves at a time when the future of humans is uncertain, where science is often considered an alternative fact, and natural disasters are bigger threats than ever. Apart from that, everything's fine.
American auto sales got a boost last month thanks to help from Ford and GM pickups, a Toyota SUV, and one of Nissan's popular crossover models. The U.S.'s 3 strongest sellers, GM, Ford, and Toyota, posted a particularly strong month, with sales rising 11.8%, 14.9%, and 8.9% respectively. Toyota's trendy RAV4 SUV jumped 44%, making it their most popular vehicle, and sales for Nissan's ultra-popular Rogue crossover surged 47%. The most popular automobile in the U.S., the Ford F-150 truck, saw a 24% rise in sales, as did GM's Chevrolet Silverado, which had a 21.7% jump. This is good news for American auto manufacturers who want to end the year strongly after a prolonged period of year-over-year declines in sales.
A new report analyzes the political leanings of NFL fan bases as the country debates players kneeling for the national anthem. Researchers ranked the teams based on the fans' political breakdown, and they found that the team that had the most fans that identified as Democrat, not surprisingly, the San Francisco 49ers, and the team with the most fans that identified as Republican was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Also not surprising. Just 6 teams had more Republican fans than Democratic fans. The researchers also analysed other sports organisations. For example, NASCAR has a very Republican fan base, while the NBA has a largely left-leaning following. North Korea has conducted several recent missile tests, leading to increased tension with the United States. Jason Bellini talked to Americans who are using new technology to keep you safe in this week's Wall Street Journal Moving Upstream report.
That's right, Richard. I spoke with a group of analysts that don't work for the U.S. government, yet they're finding amazingly detailed information about North Korea's military capabilities.
When we looked at the 12, we were like, holy crap, that is a pathway to an ICBM.
In the Wall Street Journal's new video series, Moving Upstream, we meet the North Korea decoders. They're studying the propaganda photos and videos put out by the regime.
But you can use a program to track frame by frame how quickly that missile accelerates.
They're also using new tools such as satellite imagery and 3D mapping to help reveal the capabilities of the North's missiles.
We're talking about a missile that can carry a warhead, successfully re-enter, and hit the continental United States.
Yes, New York, LA. Yeah.
And you can learn more about the group's conclusions on the digital series Moving Upstream at WSJ.com.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 4 Dallas, Deborah Ann Mathis has found joy in helping others. Facing cancer for the second time, Deborah was recently cleared by her surgeon and oncologist to work as a volunteer at the information booth for the State Fair of Texas.
I love people. I love seeing the smiles on their face. I love being able to tell them or to go watch a show.
Volunteering 5 to 6 days a week, it's a welcome distraction from her cancer treatment.
I have cancer. Cancer don't have me. God got me.
Deborah proves a positive outlook is just what the doctor ordered.
Because I'm upbeat, I'm not worried about nothing, I'm happy, I'm enjoying life.
And for our final story, Hartford, Connecticut resident Abigail Moore noticed an often forgotten need: a pair of good shoes for the homeless. Moore told Top 30 most homeless people lack decent footwear, even though they tend to walk everywhere and in all kinds of weather. To combat this issue, she started Footwear with Care, an initiative of the nonprofit community Partners in Action. She teamed up with the shoe store Fleet Feet, the Hartford PD, and the Connecticut Podiatric Medical Association to provide foot exams and new shoes for those in need. Moore said her favorite experience was when a, quote, homeless man needed a pair of steel-toed boots to report to work on Monday. I got him the boots and he got the job. If you'd like to donate to Footwear with Care, go to the Top 30 Facebook page.
Investigators have released their final report on the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. It contains many clues but no answers. The report describes the failure to locate the missing plane as almost inconceivable. For 3 years, Australian investigators searched more than 45,000 square miles of ocean at an expense of over $150 million. On March the 8th, 2014, MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur on the way to Beijing. 40 minutes later, it vanished from radar and has never been seen. There were 239 people on board. The report contains an apology to the families of those passengers. The Australian Transport Safety Bureau said, "We deeply regret that we have not been able to locate the aircraft nor those 239 souls on board." Every day, more than 10 million people board commercial flights. Isn't that a remarkable number? And the document urges airlines to adopt more safety measures and new technology to prevent another MH370. This story has now become one of the airline industry's biggest tragedies and greatest mysteries. Coffee could be extinct by as early as 2080. Chris Tretter, the owner of the Higher Grounds Trading Company, says coffee farms are in serious danger due to climate change. Tretter says the extinction has already started and, quote, "We've seen some of our growers lose over half of their crop and have to replant, and it's due to changes in the weather from climate change." Moreover, a report from the Climate Institute says that by 2050, the amount of suitable coffee farmlands is expected to have halved due to rising temperatures, pests, and fungi. And while you depend on that cup of joe every morning to get you going, there are 125 million families worldwide who rely on coffee production as their livelihood. Remember that scene in Airplane where they announce the pilot has died and no one bats an eyelid, and then they say they've run out of coffee and everyone goes bananas? Maybe it's this that will finally put climate change in perspective.
Let's face it, we're obsessed with keeping our phones charged. There's even a term for it, nomophobia, which means fear of no mobile phone, which was coined in a study by the UK Post Office. There's a million reasons why you need to charge your phone and curb this anxiety. None better than your phone is dying and you need to make an emergency call, which is why we're presenting you with today's top 30 solution, the PowerTaps Portable Chargers 12-pack. PowerTaps portable chargers are perfect in a pinch. They're pre-charged, so simply plug it in and power up. Then recycle it when it's empty. Not only that, but each PowerTap has the capability to give most phones up to 4 hours of battery life. PowerTabs are ideal for emergencies, travel, and outdoor events, so tuck them away in your backpack, purse, or suitcase to use when you least expect a drained battery. This 12-pack of PowerTabs portable chargers has been seen as high as $60, but today you can buy it for just $25. That's a 58% discount, and you can get this right now at morningsave.com while they last.
While Airbnb appeals to the comforts of home, hotel chains are competing by going in the opposite direction, futuristic technology. Speaking at the Skift Global Forum, Hilton CEO Christopher J. Nassetta announced plans to test a smart room. These smart rooms would allow you to enter with the thermostat adjusted to your preferred temperature, as well as linking to your Netflix and Hulu accounts. Digital assistants like Amazon's Alexa have already been added to many Marriott and Wynn resort locations. And Nassetta said, "We aren't trying to be the cheap alternative, we are trying to be the premium alternative." Other chains are joining the digital revolution as well. Starwood is piloting smart mirrors, which allow guests to read the latest news headlines. I guess because the headlines are so depressing, you might feel better about your face.
A new study says there are fewer minorities in the tech industry than there were 10 years ago. The nonprofit Ascend Foundation looked at government data on large companies in Silicon Valley, including Apple, Facebook, Google, and Twitter. They found people of color had fewer opportunities at tech companies and were less likely to be promoted. In some cases, they're also less represented than they used to be. The percentage of black females working in tech dropped by 13% since 2007. There was an increase in black executives, but an 18% drop in black managers. Women of Asian and Hispanic descent were the least likely to be promoted to management. One of the study's authors said, quote, "Minority women continue to bump against a double-paned glass ceiling. White women made some progress. They're now more likely to become executives. But white men are still 47% more likely to reach the executive level." In recent years, the tech industry has been criticized for misogyny and a lack of diversity, and these numbers seem like a giant step backward. Maple is the new pumpkin spice. Maple-flavored products have exploded onto the scene this fall, forcing pumpkin spice to kind of take a back seat. USA Today reports that maple-related searches have skyrocketed, and sales of maple-flavored beverages are up 85%. There's Starbucks' new maple pecan latte. Dunkin' Donuts also has a similar drink, along with a maple sugar bacon breakfast sandwich. Chobani Yogurt launched a maple flavor in August. Einstein Brothers Bagels has a maple schmear. Kettle Brand Chips has a maple bacon flavor. There's even maple water. Let's just say maple isn't just for pancakes anymore.
A new study says that 3D printing could erase nearly a quarter of the world's trade in just 40 years. If investment in 3D printing continues at its current rate, about half of all manufactured goods could be printed by 2060, and that could lead to a drop of more than 20% in trade worldwide. 3D printing requires less labor, fewer goods will have to be imported from low-wage countries. Car makers and producers of industrial machinery and consumer products are the three industries that will lose the most trade because they make the biggest investments in 3D printing and conduct lots of world trade. The study's author says the shift will make products cheaper and boost purchasing power, which will be a positive for economic growth. But as with so many things, that all depends on who you are and how you make your money.
Here's a love story that'll tug at your heartstrings. Toronto residents Curtis Cluett and Nicole Simone fell in love in part over their shared interest in rescuing animals. In 2012, Nicole started a nonprofit rescue called Redemption Paws, an advocacy group that helps find dogs homes by showing off their personality with professional photos. After Hurricane Harvey, Nicole and Curtis sprung into action with Redemption Paws and drove down to Houston to rescue 39 pups. When they returned, Curtis took Nicole to a remote area of a nearby park where her friends and the dogs they rescued in Houston were waiting to help him propose. Everyone loves a good love story, especially when it involves adorable dogs.
That is it for today's Top 30. Here are some stories coming up that are worth knowing about. A new study says loneliness is a growing health problem, but your workplace could help. Brand name beauty products are being counterfeited and could leave you injured. And one state wants to end distracted driving and save lives by using Taylor Swift lyrics. These stories and more coming up on the next Top 30.